Welcome everybody to this amazing session that we have put together just before International Female Right Day, which is happening on Saturday, 1st May, globally and also here in Kenya. Let me introduce myself first. This is Manuela. I'm from the planning team of this year's event. We're a massive group. We are, I think, 15 or 16 people behind this event here in Nairobi. So it's a really exciting, last 2-3 weeks for all of us to try and put this together. We are learning so much. And we really thought, let's give, everybody a chance to learn with us. But I think maybe I can start by saying a bit about, what awaits us in this 1 hour. We will learn about, our partner, Miti Alliance, who's been our partner here in, figuring out how do we actually plant trees? How do we do this in a sustainable way? Tree planting is more than putting a seedling in the soil. And today we will learn a lot about that. And we also have speakers today from Ink Sisterhood and from Throttle Queens and from the National Umbrella Organization of Private Bikers. And we're also going to hear from them a little bit about our road safety agenda. You can all please ask your questions on chat. We'll have a time where we'll have Michael from Miti Alliance take a few questions for all of us to get full clarity on this thing of tree planting. And I would like to right now ask everybody to get a pen and a paper. That's going to be quite important for one part of the session. So look around you, where's a pen, where's a paper, try and grab it so that when that part of the session comes, you're ready to do what you have to do to participate fully in this 1 hour experience. Great. So with not much further ado, I just want to introduce and invite Alex from the Women Bikers Association, the chair lady, to just, my PowerPoint is hanging, sorry guys, to talk us through what IFRD really is. So Alex, I think you can go ahead.
Thank you, Manuela.
Here's our slides.
All right. Thank you, Manuela, for kicking off the session. Thank you to the speakers, and thanks everyone for joining. So I'll be quick just to sort of give a background on what IFRD is for those who may not know, or if this is your first time participating in the IFRD planning and ride. So basically, this is just a day where women from all over the world come together to just ride their motorcycles. They plan themselves to take part in a ride to either out of their town, out of their country, just to commemorate and celebrate women in motorcycling. So this initiative was started by Motores, and in Kenya we started the first ride in 2015, and we've been trying to commemorate this day every subsequent year. We started our ride in 2015, and Motores kicked off this ride in 2007. So we've been doing IFRD since then, and we've always tried to ensure that we mark this day as well with either a CSR activity, a charity activity, or just supporting a cause. So this year, we are going to be doing the tree planting, and Manuela is going to talk more into that. But basically, this is a day to celebrate women in motorcycling, to celebrate enthusiasts, and also to get support from fellow bikers, fellow male bikers, and anyone who is an enthusiast in riding. So I think with that brief and what we shall be able to do on Saturday, then everyone, those participating, those who are participating by supporting us financially, and the ladies who will be there during the ride and taking part in the activities, will be able to truly mark this day, but by doing something they love, and the thing that brings us together, which is riding. So we are just going to ride while we have fun and give back to the community. So thank you, everyone. Manuela, back to you.
Fantastic. So I am actually personally so excited, because last year I was not even part of the Kenyan route for this, and this year I'm finally going to be part of my first Kenyan ride myself. So every year we look for a cause, you know, like what can we do this year? And you know, of course, people have asked me, so why are you guys doing tree planting? You know, motorbike tree planting. Maybe some people don't directly see the connection. And to me, it's quite obvious. And I think to most motorbike riders, it's quite obvious. If you've ridden your bike in full gear, in full Kenyan sun, you definitely are looking for some shades, you know, to park under and to chill and to just experience the beauty of our country. You can sit in awe of nature, you know, when you probably ride through our country, right? Whether it's the dry lands, we have a beautiful picture of grace here under some amazing, you know, acacia trees somewhere, or whether you're actually in our water towers. On the left, we see like, you know, the actual Mount Kenya forest, right? So, I mean, I think every motorbike rider appreciates, you know, you ride and trees are everywhere. And I think all of us are also quite aware that our forests are becoming less, because more and more we ride, sometimes we realize, oh, there's actually no forest here, right? Like what we see instead are those, you know, gunias on the side of the road where we have, you know, charcoal, and on the entire, you know, left and right of the road, it's just empty. So you ask yourself, so was this a forest before? You know, so I think as motorbike riders, we are quite aware of nature. We are part of it. You know, that's the fun of riding. And then you realize, you know, things are somehow changing, right? The numbers are, Kenya had 10% forest cover in the 60s and 70s, and right now we are down to something like 6 to 7%. So massive loss of wildlife, of, you know, we'll talk about deforestation and all that in a bit. So it's quite clear to us. And I think as bikers, we, you know, we want to be part of the solution. We also are aware of our carbon footprint. You know, before or after a ride, we pass a petrol station. So clearly, we are somehow part of the problem when we talk about climate change. You know, as riders, it used to be obvious that when you ride in a certain month of the year, you won't have rain, but the rain patterns are changing. We know something is happening. So we are quite excited to say, hey, let's be part of tree planting, tree growing, and you know, let's see what this is all about and what we can do as a community of bikers. We are spearheading this as the Lady Bikers this year, but so many male bikers have chipped in on the contributions. I can see so many guys in the call here. It's really, really exciting. I believe that this is really just the beginning of, you know, the Kenyan bikers contributing to adding again more trees and all that. So I'd like to introduce Michael from Miti Alliance. It's funny, actually. I met Michael in 2017. Me and him, we both had another life then. I wasn't yet a biker, and you know, he had another job, but we worked in the same office. And there was this guy, you know, every time over lunch, we would all like hang out in the garden and have our lunch. And this guy is like in the corner of the compound playing around with some plants. And, you know, at some point he tells us, actually, my big hobby is tree planting. You know, so he has this job in solar, but he also plants trees in the garden of the office. So we were all like, so this guy is a super interesting person. I couldn't be more thrilled that we have him as our partner. And his organization as our partner for this drive, because there's a lot to be known about, you know, deforestation, tree planting, tree growing. What is this all about? Which tree goes where? How do you follow up? I feel like every time we talk with Michael, we are like taking an entire course, and we are so excited that he made time today to join us and tell us about tree planting, about his organization, and a few things we should probably all know about the opportunities and the need of planting and growing trees. So Michael, that's, I think, what I can say. Welcome. We are excited, so excited to have you here. And yeah, introduce yourself. Tell us what you think we ought to know ahead of Saturday.
Thank you so much, Manuela and Alex, for for reaching out another year, because we tried last year, but again there was a lockdown. And also good evening to everyone who's joined on this call and this important discussion. So I'm Michael Ayaki, and I'm the founder of Miti Alliance. We founded the company in 2018 as a social enterprise focusing on reforestation, and we really wanted to help the country, restore its 10% cover. And these efforts on reforestation started 11 years ago as a Rotaract member. I was president, and I was in various youth groups and doing multiple activities. And tree planting was like a big hobby then, and it was fun until we started going for hikes and activities, and we started seeing the trends changing. The rivers are drying up, finding people cutting down trees. And then we started realizing that the impact was coming really close home. And as you see on this slide, you can see that the tree cover is said to be about 7%. And as we say that possibly Kenya will get 10%, but that's only a wish, because we need about 1.7 billion seedlings and trees that will have grown to hit that 10%. So when you think about the number of seedlings, you think about how many nurseries are there in Kenya, how many people know about, where can they get seedlings. So over the years, we were doing activities. We did a lot of activities with Rotary. We did a lot of activities with Nairobi Global Shapers, our community, our church, until we discovered that, there was a problem when we planted in the public places or in areas where there was no follow-up. And as we started seeing this gap, we realized, and of course, as Manuela mentioned, I was in solar for 4 years. So we traveled in 31 counties, and we were working in Tanzania and Kenya. So I visited so many schools, and something that was common in those schools was that there were not enough trees or even fruit trees. And I started going back into the schools and started trying to, work with the schools. And that's where we realized, our niche, that, we really need to go back to where it matters most. And that's how we went into the schools. In 2020, we went to 30 schools. We were in 5 universities. We had 8 sponsors, 7 partners. We did about 12,000 tree seedlings. We distributed seed balls, about 81,000 of them. And we also sold seedlings to a corporate partner. So when we were doing it, we realized the kids would follow up on the growth of the seedlings. And we realized that that's where, the hope is. The more we did the big events, we realized that it was about the pictures. It was about, we have been seen planting, but we would go back to try and find out how are the trees doing. And we discover that the trees, some have died, nobody has taken care of them. But when we go to the schools, like in this picture, it was a school near Kereita Forest, and then the other one is Ngenia High School. We taught them about how to set up beds, seed beds, and also now just how do they care for the trees. These are some of the things that, that really inspire us when we see kids doing something about it. And our hope now is that even as we are leading up to Saturday, that each and every one of you, possibly you have, you've seen people plant trees, but maybe the interest just stops there. But what if you did something about it at your own level, at your home, at your local school, at the school that you went, or you have small kids and you took them to Karura or somewhere, or you brought them on the actual day of planting. And what we are trying to do is instill values of caring for the earth. And because when we care for the earth cares for us. Because when you think about the pollution, the plastics, the oceans, all these things have something to play with, you know, our normal day-to-day life. Manuela mentioned about like how the rains are just way in April. And if, you know, those who are there in the 90s or could understand the patterns that were there then, or come from a family where they were farming, you would know that there was the rally season and it would rain full time. So right now, it's not raining today, but it rained maybe 3 days ago, but we're not sure if the rain is actually consistent. So our resolve was to go back to the school, empower the young people, and try to bring them up to speed and tell them, you know, you need to start caring for the trees that we are planting, because you will sit under their shade and you'll be the custodians. So for us and to everybody who's listening is a call to everyone that, you know, you can do something. You can actually make a difference right where you are. Whether it is in your small shamba at home or the shamba that you bought and you haven't done anything with it, or even something that you've seen maybe of your parents, and you go back to the village and decide that you want to plant some fruit trees. So it's a high time that people took action, and that's the right now there isn't enough action to support you know, small groups, environmental groups that, you know, are doing this job. It's very hard. Funding hardly comes down to you know, to the small community level CBOs that are working. And again, it is also complicated to work with a big organization like Kenya Forest Service. So, you know, do you work with Miti Alliance? Do you work with which organization do you go to? That information hasn't been forthcoming. So looking at such challenges, and we look at Kenya, and I'd like to invite everyone after
sorry, Michael. Yeah, please unmute yourself. I keep muting guys where the microphones come on. So sorry, I just muted you by mistake.
Yeah, thanks, Manuela. So I was just saying that if each of you would open the Google Earth after this call, or if you're able to open it and you're on your laptop, and you have a look at how close we are to how it looks like in Somalia. And Somalia, they've really cut down their trees, and they have been doing that for years because of the turmoil there. But just last week, I think it was on, I don't know, Manuela, if you have that picture of Kenya being now first in the region in export of charcoal. And that really broke my heart. And I know, yes, we need charcoal. And some of us, maybe most of the people who are on this call are middle class to upper class, can afford gas wherever they are, but there are still people who are using firewood, and they're also using charcoal. So when you think of, yeah, that's the slide. And these were pictures from a hike as well of a place we found that they were burning charcoal. So how can Kenya now be the regional top exporter of charcoal? It's because charcoal will come in illegally from Uganda or from Tanzania, or coming through because it's coming through from the DRC, and then Kenya will export. But there's also those who will be still burning charcoal in our neighborhoods, or in the places that there are trees, and they're not burning exotic trees, they are burning the old trees. So if at most you get 3 to 4 or 5 bags from a mature acacia tree, which has taken 20, 25 years to grow, you can't expect that tree is going to grow that fast when you plant it or when we distribute the seed balls. So we are talking about another 15 years, 20 years when the next generation is going to come in. So these are some of the challenges that we are facing. And renewable energy solutions are needed. We need to keep thinking about solar. We need to think about other sources that are going to help us, really mitigate climate change. And over time, and I was studying, while I was studying, I was doing my master's in energy and sustainability. The one thing they say and has been highlighted as the most, one of the things that needs to be used is education, because we need to sensitize, people need to know, and people need to really understand how important this is. So if your village, you're only planting exotic trees, and the indigenous trees are the ones that belonged there in the first place. They supported the bees, they supported the birds, they supported, the cows, or they were nitrogen fixing in the soil. So there are so many things that the ecosystem relies on with the indigenous trees, but maybe we are out there just planting eucalyptus. Yes, we need the money. Yes, there's a big opportunity. And I'm speaking to maybe someone who could say, I want to plant many trees in my area. And you want to plant the eucalyptus because you can sell them. There's still that opportunity because of the Big Four agenda. But right now we are still importing wood from where? Possibly the DRC or Tanzania or Uganda. Those countries are still green. If you look at the Google Earth picture, and Manuela, maybe you can share the link that has the time lapse from 1984, and guys can check it out later and just see how our forest cover has reduced over time. So we are told about the 7%, but we are not sure that that's true, or that data can be verified. Still, Western Kenya, if anybody is here from Western Kenya is still lowest in forest cover. And, it's right at the lake, and there's a lot of flooding that happens there. But imagine if they start maximizing on fruit trees or trees that would do well there. And then maybe the other opportunity is, can each one of you understand how much CO2 you're producing with your flights? Maybe Manuela, you can go to that slide and explain more from your perspective, from a biker's perspective.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. I mean, Michael, I feel like what you just said, I feel like we could have like a 2-hour Q&A session right now. I can see a question on the chat by Susan, like, what are we really going to do with this charcoal issue, And I think that by itself is probably a long meeting where we need to look at government, NGO, civil society, livelihoods. We would need to look at so many things. It would be actually worth another session, right? Yeah, so we've talked quite a bit about the effects of deforestation. And I think just, the other part of it is, of course, climate change and what is the role of trees and tree cutting in that. And I thought, it's always worth just a very small refresher on carbon dioxide and what this is all about. I'm sure most people here, primary school is a bit ago. CO2 is just one of the many greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. We need those greenhouse gases to regulate the climate on this planet. It's quite a fragile balance, but the greenhouse gases have helped us over the many millions and billions of years to keep this planet inhabitable. Yeah, CO2 is, contributes, if it's higher than it should be, to global warming, and it has also been found to help to turn oceans acidic. So too much CO2 in the atmosphere tends to be a bad thing, no matter what people like Trump say. Yeah, I mean, scientists are pretty much in agreement. So it's also quite clear that over the last 250 years, since industrialization, the CO2 amount has, has increased. And that, we are all aware climate change is happening. Some of the worst possible outcomes are yet to come. but scientists are predicting, how many degrees Celsius can the world really increase or not. So I won't go into all the details right now, but what's important to know is we have to reduce the amount of CO2 that's in the atmosphere. But unfortunately, currently, humanity is adding more every single day. And while, inventors out there are talking of carbon capture, and they're trying to figure out how we get the CO2 out of the atmosphere in all kinds of fancy ways, one of the most obvious ways is probably to let trees do their work. Trees take CO2 out of the air, they take the carbon in, which makes them actually grow, that's their food, and then they kind of exhale, in quotes, through this fancy thing called it's a chemical process, right? And it creates oxygen. So the best, sorry?
Photosynthesis.
Photosynthesis. My Greek just left me. Exactly. So the easiest thing we can all do is that. And then probably everybody has heard of this word called carbon footprint, right? So I thought it's a pretty cool exercise, and kind of the conversations with Michael challenged me. So please all get your pen and paper right now. We're going to try and really quickly figure out what's our carbon footprint of our motorbike. Yeah. So I know people here are bikers. Some only commute, others only adventure, some do all of it. Yeah, like get a pen and paper and we'll do a very quick estimate of what's actually your carbon footprint here. And we looked up a few of the facts here. Yeah? So burning 1 liter of fuel actually creates 2.3 kilos of CO2. I mean, I don't know how much 2.3 kilos of CO2 is, but what I know is that one adult acacia tree can capture 33 kgs of CO2. So you can already see the relations, 1 liter of fuel versus one tree. There's a lot going on here, right? So the other interesting thing is that like an hour on a commercial flight actually creates a lot of CO2. You can do a lot of kilometers on your bike versus 1 hour flight. Yeah, so I can see some people here smiling who tend to ride to Mombasa instead of flying. So let's grab a pen and paper. And I did this on Sunday. I got my own big shocker, and I hope I got my maths right. But let's do this together. Yeah. So of course it helps to know how much fuel your bike actually consumes. I'm lucky I have a small CC bike, so mine is around 2.2, 2.5 liters fuel, depending on tire pressure, on how much I play with the throttle. Am I going at 80 or 90, or like what am I doing with the throttle? Of course, increases your fuel consumption, right? So know that number. And then I was just asking myself, so my rides and my randoms, maybe on a Saturday, I'm like, Nairobi sucks. Let me go to Nanyuki near, like, let me ride somewhere, right? So I was just thinking maybe Nanyuki is a good location. 200 kilometers. So back and forth, 400, that's 10 liters, right? That's already 10 liters of fuel I've just burned, comes to 23 kgs of CO2. I don't do that once a year. I do that at least once a month. So I'm already at 276 kgs. I hope on your pen and paper now you're trying to figure out how many kilometers are my randoms. I know for some people 200 is a joke. You do 500, you quickly head to Mombasa, on an afternoon. So try and figure out how many kilometers am I actually doing, and then what does that mean for my CO2? Then of course I also commute. Yeah, so I'm kind of lucky. I'm only 15 kilometers away from the office, so that's 30 every day. Right, times 20 days, that's 600 kilometers a month, 15 liters, that's 180 liters a year. That again leads me to 414 kgs of CO2. Yeah, so I was already shocked that my commute might even take more than my random rides. And then I have to admit, I mean, now it's COVID, I don't fly as much, but I will still fly at least once a year. Yeah, so 2 hours on a flight, we are told takes 500 kgs of CO2. So who is good at maths? The shocking result is with this very basic riding I'm doing, I already have like 1.2 tons of CO2, which led me to the realization that just me, I need 36 trees, and those are adult trees, to just absorb my carbon, right? So it kind of made me realize, I need to take this tree planting and tree growing a bit more serious. So I'm curious, maybe I'll give you guys a minute just to look at your own kilometers and your own flights, and just see, hey, where am I here, and what's actually my target for Saturday's tree planting event, with the, yeah. Cool. Welcome to the new joiners. We're also recording the session, so you can catch up later on YouTube on everything we're doing today. Yeah, so I mean, when I did my math and I was like, Michael, could this be true? Like, I have really not yet planted 36 trees in my life. And he just laughed and he was like, yeah, most people tend to underestimate, their carbon footprint. So that really hit home for me. And that's when I realized maybe this should not be the last, tree planting event we are doing, or tree growing campaign we're doing as the Kenyan bikers. Maybe this is something we need to adopt as a lifestyle, right? It's not a one-off, as you said, take photos and leave, but maybe this is a lifestyle we need to adopt, knowing that, something we love is contributing to kind of.
Manuela, I think maybe to add a little on to that is the part of maybe you're in a household that has 2 cars, 2 bikes, you have so many flights, work flights or holiday flights in a year, how much electricity you use, how much, the various things that you have in your household that, would count as emission. So the house, flights, car, motorbike, bus or rail, or other things that you might be doing, all this add up in one way or another. So, and then maybe something that might not make sense right now, because we're sticking to a simple example, but is how do you source your food, or where do you source your food? How much footprint does your food have? So that might be a bit super complicated, because you'll be like, you just want the food. But imagine if the cars that bring your food, and that's where food security, food system, sustainable systems come in, where your food is accessible, where it comes from, this farm, it's produced this way. It doesn't take, not bringing salmon from some place in Switzerland or whatever, and it's flown all here, or it comes by ship or whatever. So these are some of the things that, they just add up, because the ozone is for everyone. The emissions cover, have an impact to everyone. So it's the simple things we do, even our waste. So you don't sort your waste at home. So the landfills, the plastics, if they're not recycled, they are burnt. So your plastic is playing a role. So where does your waste go? Do you do like the way Takataka has composting? So like we've benefited from Takataka by collecting, compost from them that we've used to plant trees with. So there's so many linkages of our everyday life that we need to start being aware of. And maybe the simplest one is just by the trees, planting and growing trees, even right at home. Yeah, just wanted to add that, Manuel.
Yeah, now you're making it even more scary. And people on the chat are discussing, Manuela has the smallest bike in this whole meeting. Yeah, those who know it's 125 cc and theirs is 9 or 10 times that size, they're probably doing their maths right now. And yeah, very interesting. So there's one really good question here, like, is the fuel levy to any the government collects, is there anything, about tree planting from fuel levy? Is there something that could be campaigned for, or, because it seems like the obvious thing to do. Fuel that's burned needs to move to, trees grown. What do you know anything about that?
Yeah, I think Kenya is just at a fantastic place where we are just thrown into a BBI train and other things, yet the priorities are forgotten. Kenya, I think, is still looking for money for environment projects and, carbon fund and all those things. But I want to give a simple example of Canada. Yeah, by all means, they're a developed nation. But Canada's forest sector generated 1.9 billion in revenue in 2018. The value of Canadian forest product exports is about $33 billion. I don't know if, I'm sure you guys, as you said, Manuela, you ride to Nanyuki, so you pass Kakuzi. And anybody who's used the Nakuru Highway, you see the forest on that side as well. And they are supposed to be sustainable forests in our country. Because if people have enough and sufficient wood and timber, they won't go into the forest. But, I think there was a question, I don't know if it was Grace who was mentioning, are we giving alternatives to these youths? So there should be ideas of levies, and I don't know where the Ministry of Environment is on with that, but we have such amazing policies in this country. We have amazing bans of charcoal, amazing bans of no logging, but you will see a truck full of timber or wood just passing, even with charcoal, borders with charcoal. And I think our execution or implementation of what we mean we want to do is never there. But levies, a levy or a tax whereby, people know that this is going towards reforestation projects. And I'll give you something shocking that happened is that private sector does not want to give money on reforestation to the government. They want to fund other smaller organizations. And you've seen Equity come out with their 35 million target, and they started planting last year. This year, ABSA came out with their 10 million target. So what can everybody who's on this call do in their own capacity or with their organization in their own small way? But what happens is that I think it's not yet sunk enough that it goes to the right ears to hear that we could start at our own individual level. If this was a campaign for BBI, as in we would be hearing it on radio, TV every single day. But this is about life and death. This is about our rivers. Like if anybody is listening here who has been hiking, I'm sure if you have followed one path or the other, you notice the seasons. So for me, it's just to think, how can, like maybe someone is here and they have 10 acres or 100 acres, but they are empty. So what if we started growing trees there for growing trees that will, give good pollen or nectar for the bees, or one section where they will be producing wood for harvest, that it starts meeting the local demand, because we cannot exist like we are thinking that timber will just come from the Congo. The Congo will be deforested. Everything will be cut down. So if Canada is doing $33 billion in 2019, imagine the opportunity that is there. And a few people are waking up to it because we were supporting a project just there last year. Someone had planted 25,000 trees that they want to harvest in the next 15 years. And they say that this is for their children. And at most, on a minimum, you would sell a mature tree at 10,000 shillings. So that's 250 million. And they were doing it very closely in a 10-acre plot. So if we now start seeing the opportunity that is there in reforestation, then our forests will also be allowed to thrive. So I think it is that aspect that people are still not seeing. But I won't lie to anybody who's listening today, and we never lie about this, that tree growing is hard work. Because there will be a day the goats will come, there will be a day there will be a storm, there will be a day that someone will just step on your tree. Or if you didn't fence right, there will be a day that someone just comes and uproots your avocado and goes and plants in their own shamba. So there are so many dynamics of this, but honestly, I still don't feel like we are getting there fast enough. And I think 2021 has been one of the most challenging years that we've had. Just seeing with COVID, we are not able to go far. We can just only do so much. And then funding is hardly accessible. So these are some of the real challenges, and these are kind of informed policy. So over to you, Manuela, because we can go to a
Thank you
lot
so
of
much.
issues.
That's what I told guys, you know, we can be here the whole night. Thank you so much, Michael, for breaking it down for us. And, you know, obviously we want to offer everyone on the call, you know, who says, actually, yeah, I have a half an acre somewhere, you know, or, you know, me and my brothers, we bought, or whatever it is, you know. We want to offer everyone to get in touch with Michael. Happy to make the link and be like, hey, how could you support us? How can you give us some tips? Where do we start? I have one final question to you before we kind of wrap this part of the session up. And it's, what do we need to know now that we are saying on Saturday, you know, we are going to plant trees? What do we actually need to know about what happens after you put the seedling in the soil, or what happens after you throw the seed ball, you know, out there? How long does it actually take for a tree to mature? What follow-up is needed? Could you just give us a short breakdown for that? Because I know many people here have heard that there's a difference between planting a tree and growing a tree. So break it down for us. What has to happen after?
All right, thanks for that. So with growing a tree, so for those who will be planting seedlings, those seedlings for Karura and for the Boma site, those trees have follow-up for 3 years. So a tree takes about 3 years, and you can let it just now grow by itself. But at the initial stages, it needs follow-up. Possibly animals will step on it, or possibly a baboon, or, you know, it's in the wild because there are animals there. But when you think about the importance of follow-up, is whereby if you are growing trees in your own fenced area, and that's why Karura is fenced, and that's why the trees are protected. Why this is so important is that it blocks out people who will come and harm the forest, or people who will come and graze their cattle. And with follow-up, you are able to know, did the trees that all these contributors in the group give, did they survive? Ideally, there is supposed to be a 10% allocation for, say, if you are doing 1,000 trees, there should be 100 extra in every planting of those trees, because what happens is that the ones that die, you are able to know that you have 1,000 left. But if when you're doing your follow-up, say after 3 months, after 6 months, after 9 months, 12 months, when you see the ones that are dying, you're able to either plant a new one, or you're able to stake it up or put a stick, because maybe it's being blown by the wind, and support it. So that's the key part of tree growing, that the initial 3 years is when a seedling is quite challenged. As for seed balls, we distribute them while it's still either dry, or the rain hasn't poured, or even if it has. But what happens with seed balls is that it's a seed that is wrapped in charcoal dust. So the goats think, or all other animals think, it's like goat poo or whatever animal poo, whatever kind. So just by that aspect, the seed is left intact. But the thing is that now that's when it rains and the charcoal dust comes off, now the seed just germinates slowly as it goes up, and then its roots establish. It's the survival rate in the wild is about 12%, but it is much higher in, say, in protected areas, because what seed balls tries to do is to mimic nature. So all you're doing is that you are mimicking nature, because seeds in the forest just fall down and then they sprout. So follow-up is key. And I want to encourage all those who will be involved in the various groups you know, right there on a weekend, Karura Park, you know, take a stroll or a run and go see how the trees are doing and hold Karura or Bomas accountable because you're paying for the follow-up. But also like what we've done over time is that we've been marking the sites that we plant with GPS location because we realize in some places we plant, we didn't find our trees. And we'd be told, you know, the dik-diks ate them or the squirrels or this or baboons or this or that. And that's the huge challenge of, say, reforestation in Mount Kenya because there are elephants, there are so many other bigger animals. There are people grazing, you know, and that's why reforestation is quite a challenge and so expensive. It takes years to do the restoration. Yeah.
As you said, a tree is cut on really fast, turned into 3 bags of charcoal, and takes 20 years to grow back.
Yeah.
Thank you, Michael. So I want to probably end this part of the session just with a huge, big thank you. I mean, the contributions we've been getting are just absolutely fantastic. We are like so thrilled, 161K. Who thought so? Yeah, so we are really excited for everybody who chipped in so far. We are still far from the 1,000. Let's see how close we can get. We have extended the donation deadline to tomorrow evening. It's important that we have the money 3 days before so that, you know, our forest partners can get ready for us. We don't want to show up there on Saturday and start digging. We want to show up there and start planting. So yeah, the other fantastic news is that we got actually from Miti Alliance a donation of 12,000 seed balls. So the group that's riding through to Olepolos will specifically, you know, work with seed balls over there. So with a 12% survival rate or even more because it's a closed space, I think we are starting to get close to our 1,000 goal. Yeah, so I'm really, really excited what we've been able to pull off with the help of the entire biking community so far and what we can still do, you know, by Saturday. I think on the chat, it looks like this shouldn't be our last time. Yeah, thank you so much. We also want to say a big thanks to Kadzo Collections, who really helped us with the accounting and the collections of the money. That's Monienya and her team. Yeah, so thank you also for you know, everybody who's chipping in to make this a success between all of us volunteers. And I think, Michael, your last line when you thought of this girl was really, you know, we are the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago, because then you would sit in its shade now. But the second best time is to plant it right now, so that this future generation can have something to work with and can sit in their shade and breathe their air and all that. So thank you, Michael, so much. There are lots of questions for you on the chat. Please answer them.
I'll try and answer them. Yeah.
Please also put your email address there so that guys can reach out to you. I know people have questions. Maybe now they want to plant, you know, so yes. Good. Awesome. So I think big applause to you, Michael. We hope this is just the beginning of a fantastic partnership between the bikers and Miti Alliance. To which venue are you going on Saturday?
So we have quite a couple of volunteers. So right now we are distributing seed balls to various groups, and there's a different planting that is happening in.
No, I'm specifically asking where you will be on Saturday.
For us. I will be at Olepolos.
So we have a large group of people. So we will organize for you to not come with your car, but to be carried on a bike, so that you start to be part of our community for real, not just partnering, you know, like talking about it, but for real. So we look forward to Saturday seeing you there. It's all very safe. Trust us. The way we are trusting you with this project. Thank you so much, Michael. We look forward to seeing you on Saturday. Now, I want to, we have a few minutes left. We have another very important agenda as, you know, the biker community, and it's road safety. May is the Motorcycle Safety Awareness Month globally. And I'm so thrilled that we have 3 people on this call who are championing road safety from the Lady Biker community. And we'll have a few minutes for each of them to just talk about what's going on And do they have any tips for us for the ride on Saturday? I know on this call and on Saturday, we also have a lot of people who are like, this is my first group ride. Oh my God, 20 motorbikes on one highway. How will it go? So I'm thrilled to invite Michelle. First, Michelle is wearing a lot of hats in the riding community. Today, she's here as Ing Sisterhood's road safety champion. And yeah, Michelle, go tell us what you have, and tell me when to bring you the other image.
Okay. Thank you so much, Manuela. Thank you. I'm glad to be here this evening. I've learned so much already. I am so excited to be putting some trees in the ground. So as you heard, my name is Michelle. I am Inked Sisterhood affiliated, and I'm the road safety champion. So I just want to talk about a few things. And as you can see, there's tape all over my bike, because Manuela has told me we need to go to Olepolos, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, okay, we're going to Olepolos. I need to take my bike, I need to ride, but then I need to think about some things. And I just want to talk about a few things that, a checklist that you should take yourself through before you pick your bike and you're on the road to Olepolos. And this, I think, next slide, yes, thank you. So one of the things that you need to really consider is, are you ill? And this is, I'm going through the steps of a concept called I Am Safe. And this is a checklist that was put together for different groups of people. Pilots go through it, and motorcyclists go through it. Drivers should go through it. And that's one of the things I will be campaigning for in the month of May. So I Am Safe stands for illness. I is for illness. So do you have any illness? I need to think about, do I have any illness or symptoms that might affect my ability to ride? So do I have a headache? Has it been lingering for some time? And how will this affect me when I'm riding? Might it get worse? A is for attitude. A is not on my list, but A is in the I Am Safe. A is for attitude. How do I feel about this journey? We are going to Olepolos. I'm either very excited or I'm very scared because I haven't been to this part of the town and I don't know what to expect on the road. Am I fully focused on the riding task? What human factors do I need to take account of? Are there going to be goats on the road to Olepolos? Am I worried about all this? I need to think inward and figure out, how am I going to get past these hurdles in my mind, these hurdles in my attitude, before I pick my bike and go to Olepolos. Medication. M is for medication. Am I taking any medication that might affect my performance? Am I, we always talk about how when you're on antibiotics, you shouldn't be drinking alcohol. So what kind of medication would affect my performance or would affect my ability to make any judgment on the road? S is for sleep. Am I suffering from lack of sleep? So Friday night is a long night. We are chatting with Manuela on WhatsApp, or it's Netflix and chill, and I don't get enough sleep. Then will I be able to ride my bike to Olepolos? Will the fatigue take over my body? A is for alcohol. I mean, this one is very clear. Have I had a drink? Am I still affected by alcohol? So Friday night, have friends over, past coffee time, we're drinking, enjoying. In the morning, I feel, whoa, okay, maybe I'm still a little intoxicated. So then I should really look at myself inward and figure out, okay, I'll just call Manuela and tell her, you know what, my 10 balls that you need to put in the ground, please do it for me. Or find an alternative means to be able to get you to where you need to go. And F is for food. Are you hungry? Am I hungry or thirsty? Could low blood sugar or dehydration affect my judgment? So we are always talking about, before we have a ride, we're always talking about pack some fruit, pack some nuts, pack water. You don't need to be thirsty for you to drink your water. Every time we have a break, ensure that you're sipping on your water. a lot of times you find that even when you're sipping on the water, you don't feel pressed to go and pee. And that's because your body is consuming so much of that water. So ensure that you always carry something to eat and something to drink when you're riding. E is for emotion. So I'm angry, I didn't get to do something on Friday, or I'm angry, perhaps somebody or something has made me angry, and I feel like that emotion is so much on my mind. Are you depressed or stressed from work or any other factors? And these factors, could they lead me to take risks that are unnecessary on the road? So emotion is a big part of our riding culture, and we need to really be aware of this. It's not just that, when I ride, it eases my stress, it eases the things on my mind. Sometimes those things on your mind can take over your mind, and you're unable to make good judgment calls. You might place yourself in risk because you're feeling that I just need to get to where I'm going. So these are some of the things that it's a good checklist to enable you to have a good awareness of what is going on around you. It's important that we do this because we rely a lot on our senses when we are on the road. So being honest with yourself about some of these aspects is really important to keep you and others safe. Your reaction, I was talking to someone the other day, and we're talking about how your reaction on the road, if you say thank you to somebody who gives you way, if you apologize by raising your hand when you're on the road, it enables there to be a good relationship with other road users. They recognize that, oh, you are apologetic for your actions. And if your mind is not there, then you're not able to make those decisions on the road. So I'd encourage each one of us to go through this checklist every time you're going on the road. Ensure you go through this and be honest with yourself about these factors, and this will make us all better riders.
Wow, Michelle, you've just added something to our list for Saturday. So if we have to be at the petrol station at 7:30, means leaving the house at 7, tea clocks usually takes 3 minutes. I am safe takes how many minutes? Maybe 2 minutes, yeah? So
Yes.
an extra 5 minutes before, check on the bike, check on yourself. I think that makes a lot of sense. And we're going to share this probably also on social media, just to make sure everybody got it, even though if they're not on this call. Thank you,
Yes.
Michelle. We really
Thank
also
you.
look forward to May and all the cool things that In Sisterhood has planned for the roads, for the Motorcycle Safety Awareness Month. Fill all of us in how we can support, and if it's only sharing, social media posts, reaching a lot of people, we want to educate not just the riders, also all other road users. I imagine. Thank you,
Most
Michelle.
definitely. Thank
See
you.
you on Saturday.
See
This
you.
is going to be very, very helpful. I am safe and T clocks for full fun and safety on Saturday. So many checklists. Thank you. So the next person I'd like to, and I'm trying to rush through it, but I really request 10 extra minutes from everybody. I know some of you are already in the kitchen chopping your skooma wiki. As long as you're listening, that's quite fine. So please give us 10 extra minutes to have Jerry and Wamuyu also share a few words. So we would love to hear from Throttle Queens. They are quite famous around their road safety work and thought leadership over the many years. Jerry is here with her bike, and I hope she's still on the call. I saw her earlier. Jerry, if you're still here, this is your time.
Hi, I am still here. Michael has said a lot of things that were very, very shocking and exciting at the same time. Or to be honest, I feel like there's a call. I have never been this responsible, or rather maybe irresponsible, because I've never really thought about how I could reduce my carbon print. And I think even with your help, just calculating that, I am so much more conscious than I've ever been, and definitely I'll be doing something about it. And I'm glad about this. So even on Saturday as we go, our campaign has been about sharing the road. Because when you think about it, you're not the only one ever on the road. But the way you also appear on the road is that you're either a biker, on some days you're walking or running, on some days you're cycling, on some days you're driving. And so the way we appear on the road as individuals, you find that we appear on the road in many different ways. So one of the things that has become very clear is that because our roads are not well lit, there are ways, and also they are not made with all of us in mind. They're made with drivers in mind, right? And we all know that when we've been to driving school, when we went to driving school, I don't remember being told about other road users as much. I remember being told about how to get from one point to another, and that was the key thing. I don't remember being made aware of other road users. They might have been mentioned, but like I said, might have been mentioned. So when you think about all other road users, I think one of the things that has become very critical is that we are not seeing each other. We are not acknowledging each other on the road. When you think about the roadworks going on right now, the construction, you find that, again, as obviously, it's just cars that have been made. There's provision for only cars to pass. So the rest of us have to scram in the way. Yet the other road users, we the two-wheelers and we the pedestrians and cyclists, we are the ones most vulnerable. So if there's an accident, we're the ones that could easily just die. Yeah. So one of the campaigns that we'll be rolling out in the months to come as Throttle Queens, and let me not even say as Throttle Queens, I think as bikers, our lives totally depend on this. We have to be seen. Ni lazima uonekane. Yeah, and what that means is that we have to wear very reflective material day and night, and especially at night. Because if you can't be seen, then it's very easy that a car will come and hit you. If you can't be seen by a pedestrian, it's very easy that they will walk right they'll walk right in front of you. And so we need to lower the rate of accident on our road. So we have to wear our reflectors. Get a good reflector. A good one will take you for long. It will not tear, and you will wear it and it will serve you for a long time. The other thing that for us to be seen and to see the other road users is to use our mirrors. Ensure that your mirrors are working, that you have both of them. Yeah, it really helps to see who's behind you, where they're coming from, if you're changing lanes and stuff. So make sure that your mirrors are working and they're clean, right? Kama si safi sana, you might not be able to see very well. That also speaks to our helmets. If you can't see very well through your visor, if your vision is blurred, you will not be able to see what you need to avoid. The other thing that we need to ensure so that we can be seen is that our lights need to be functional. Yeah, they don't have to be blazing and traumaing other road users. Again, that's something that we need to be mindful of, that we are not banning the oncoming vehicles, because that puts you at risk as much as it puts them at risk. So have the right lights. Make sure that you can be seen, so that even during the day, have your lights on as a biker, so that you can be able to be seen and no one will drive into you. Last but not least, we need to wear, for the daytime, we need to wear high visible garments so that we can be seen from a distance. Your reflective material might not work for you during the day, because it will work best for you at night. But even when we wear our jackets, let's make sure that we are visible. Wear something luminous, something that screams that you're approaching, that you can be seen from a distance. Let's be alert about other road users as much as we want them to be alert that we're coming. The roads that we're driving on, we have to share them as they are. Maybe in many years to come, they will have lanes in Kenya like they do abroad for bikers and for pedestrians everywhere. But in the meantime, we just have to share the road that we have. So my call to us, even as we roll out the campaign that will be coming, is that we will take it personally and share it in all our groups, in our family groups, in our work groups, in our chamas, wherever we are. Just be a champion by yourself, because someone is at risk as much as you are. So let's be champions of the road safety in every day and everywhere that we are. Yeah, and that's all. Thank you.
Wow, this is just really making me look forward to May. What you said about pedestrians and reflectors, or mkokotenis and reflectors, right? It is, I think there's a lot that all of us can even do, you know, maybe gift someone, you know, who might not even afford it. I think there's a lot we can all do, and I really look forward to May. And, you know, we will have more webinars around road safety coming up. So yeah, I think that will be a really exciting discussion. What can each of us do? How can we champion? So yes, everyone, please subscribe to Throttle Queens on, and of course, Ink Sisterhood also on social media, because a lot of interesting road safety posts will be coming up that you can use across your WhatsApp groups and your stories and all that to help spread the word. Thank you very much, Jerry. Where are you riding to on Saturday? Ngong Road Forest, correct?
No, I'm riding to Bomas.
Yeah, so that's Ngong Road, exactly. So Team Bomas will be led by Njeri.
Yep.
That will be, you know, a lot of fun. You guys will have at least 250 trees to get into the soil. Eat some ugali on Thursday and Friday so that you're actually ready. All right, thank you really for coming today. So as our last contribution, not the least at all, we have Wamoyo. Wamoyo wears just as many hats as Michelle and Jerry. Today, she's here in her capacity as the lead of the safety pillar at the Private Bikers Association of Kenya. She does so many things. Everybody who follows her on social media knows she's also involved with so many other things that I don't even want to start talking about to not keep people from dinner. Wamoyo, welcome, and tell us a bit more about the Private Bikers Association of Kenya and the safety work in the association.
Thank you, Manuela, and thank you everyone who's here tonight. So as you've heard, my name is Wamoyo Karaoke. Won't go deep into everything that I do as well. Private Bikers Association is what was formerly called Motorcycle Kenya. And the reason why the name change is because Motorcycle Kenya was registered as a CBO, and now it is an association, and that name did not pass for the association. So there is nothing else that has changed other than a name. Now, Private Bikers Association is a membership association. So we have members who register and of course pay a subscription fee of a year, of 1,000 every year. So it's good if you're not registered yet to please do so. I will leave our social media account and contact at the notes or the chat so that you can reach us after this. We have 4 pillars. We have legislation, we have association, we have training, and we have safety. Tonight, I'm only speaking about safety. And some of the things that I would like to share, the very first one is to say that I have a message from the chairman and the entire team of PBAK. We have donated 20 trees. If they haven't reached the account, they will be there very soon. So that is part of the support that we have given. What we are doing under safety is, of course, we look at safety from an individual level, that is the member themselves. And then we look at safety from the community level, and of course, for you on the road. And some of the agendas that we have in place and the things that the safety pillar will be looking at this year and other years to come is to increase safety awareness by focusing on all road users to develop a greater awareness for motorcyclists. So we are happy to support, and we will support all initiatives that will be driven by groups, by clubs, and by Nyumba Kumis, so long as they have a national impact or a community impact. So when I say that, I'm talking about their rides that we do as friends, and then there are initiatives like these ones that have a national impact, and those ones are supported by PBAK. We come in to support them whether they are purely safety or they have a safety aspect to it, because there is no event that we do or ride that we do that doesn't require a safety. For example, this particular one we will be riding to various places. And as private bikers of Kenya, as the association, we will be looking out for the riders out there. We will ensure that we have our number, our rescue number in place, will be on standby, but we will also need, and thank you to Michelle and Jerry who've spoken about the preparations in place for safety. We will also look out and we will request that each ride has a safety marshals, so that whenever the team PBAK is on the lookout, the people on standby are aware who is responsible for each group and their ride. That will be one of the key things that is very important. The other thing that we will expect is that each group has a register for all their riders to ensure that should anything happen, then we don't spend a lot of time looking for information, but we are able to take action very quickly and very effectively. On the initiatives that members and groups and member committees have, we encourage that all these groups who are coming up with safety initiatives, share that information with PBAK for the support. Let us know which support you want, but we can always tell you, I can always share it here that PBAK will support each and every initiative, but we encourage you to also reach out to us and let us know what kind of support you're looking for. PBAK also plans to organize safety trainings that are geared towards individual training, self-awareness about your safety, and also trainings that are geared towards educating other road users as well. So in a nutshell, I know everybody is looking at their dinner and looking forward to go and have their dinner. The safety pillar will improve road safety. The second one is that we will support all road safety trainings and campaigns from our members, and we will encourage participation by members through their Nyumba Kumis and clubs, and of course, groups such as ISH. With those few, I will leave our email account, I will leave our telephone number. Please make sure you take this number because you may need it on this day, and that's a number you call for any help that you need on the road. Also, follow us on our social media. We will share this. We've been sharing what is happening, what the ladies are doing, the planting of the trees. We are sharing this information as well to be able to reach all the members of PBAK. And with that few, I would like to say thank you to all of you for listening and being here, and the planners, and thank you so much for the very educative session on the trees and the carbon footprint. Thank you, Manuela.
Thank you, Amoyo. That's really, really exciting. Well, first of all, thank you guys for the contribution as the team. That is like super cool. And also, you know, the team is coming to flag us off at the different starting points. So there'll also be a conversation to take some of these conversations forward. Yeah. And yeah, so thank you very much. We really look forward to working with PBAK on many, many exciting things to come. So congratulations to the new team in office. It's been a few weeks and we are all very excited to see the psych and the momentum on the great new spirit and action. So we look forward to much more to come. And yeah, see you all on Saturday. Thanks, Amoyo, for representing PBAK. Yeah, so I think we're coming to the end. I want to just close off with some big special thank yous. Of course, to Miti Alliance, our partner in this, who are really helping us get, you know, the knowledge and the thinking. To Off-Road Adventures, Grace, you know, who has been a big champion of, you know, you guys seed balls, you know, we need to be doing this. We need to think bigger. The 3 clubs who are on board, the Women Bikers Association, Ink Sisterhood, Throttle Queens. We have such an exciting organizing team. It's always such an amazing experience to have people come together from different clubs to run a national initiative. So we have 15 people on that group who deal with, we have a press release. If somebody has a great media link, we can share with you our press release. We really want to get coverage. We're coordinating with the different venues, the routes, who are thinking of safety. We have the marshals who are volunteering for the different groups, communications on social media. A lot is going on behind the scenes. T-shirts, I'm not even mentioning everything. So everybody has something they're contributing. It's always amazing to see volunteers come together like that. And we also want to give 2 more special mentions. We have Malkia Moto Club on board this year. We are really excited to have the ladies who are commercial motorbike riders in and around Nairobi join us for the ride. And they've also really put some cash together to contribute to trees. We're really excited about that. And partnering between, what we call the private bikers and the commercial riders, it's just so fantastic to bring, women who are excited about motorbikes together. And our last shout out goes to a special guest from Switzerland. There's a lady on this call called Susan Omondi. Somebody might have thought she's here in Nairobi. She's calling in from Switzerland. Susan runs an initiative called Building Bridges. She is very excited about all things good between countries, exciting like social projects. And when she heard of this initiative through Grace, she was like, wow, I have to come, I have to attend, I have to learn what you guys are doing around the trees and the motorbike community in Kenya, and wants to help us think through how we can build some international connections for this opportunity, but also other opportunities to come. We are so thrilled to have you here, Susan. I'm not going to have you talk because we are really running out of time, but we are excited to follow up with you and see how we can really partner and build some exciting bridges between your team, your guys in Europe, and our interesting work here. Thank you very much. Welcome. And I know now you feel a little bit homesick after seeing all these amazing pictures and getting our spirit and energy. So yeah, Karibu Kenya. When the next time you're here, you have to let us know and get a small ride around the place with one of